Hi, I just got back from New York. I played the Switch 2, I played Mario Kart World, and I want to answer the question, is Mario Kart World going to be worth $80? Well, we'll get to that because I wanted to talk about all the stuff that I played today. I got to mess around with the Switch 2 a lot. There's actually a lot more differences than I was expecting. There's a lot that I have to say about Mario Kart World, as well as all the other things that I tried out. So let's just go ahead and get started. So for the Switch 2, I don't have a lot of footage of me actually playing because it was mostly just, me there. I did run into someone that was a fan that was kind enough to film a couple of things. But yeah, for the most part, this was just me there messing around with stuff. And the first thing was that they basically showed us a Switch 2. We got to hold it. And there was a couple things I was really curious about. Obviously, the first thing is the magnetism. Is it really as firm as it seems to be? Because with a regular Switch, it locks into place and it's fairly sturdy, but you can still kind of like jiggle the Joy-Con around a little bit. So I was wondering if we were going to get that exact same feeling with the Switch 2. And as everyone else has been echoing, I'm proud to say, I don't know if I'd say I'm proud, but I'm happy to say that, yeah, the magnets actually work really, really well. And you wouldn't think. Like, I picked the thing up with just one hand. I kind of like held it in place. I held it in a bunch of different ways. And the magnets actually work as well as advertised, which is awesome. Now, of course, on the back of the Joy-Con, there's a little button that you push to kind of like unlock it from place. And not only does that work very nicely, but it feels very satisfying. You get this nice little like click sound when you're like popping it out. And of course, when you're popping it in, you also get a click. Now, the only thing that I might be a little bit concerned about with this is pinching your fingers while the Joy-Con is going into the tablet itself. For the 2 minutes I messed with it, I didn't have any issues with, potentially pinching a little bit of skin as it was going in. That might be something that comes up for some people in the future, but it doesn't seem like that's really going to happen. I did also mess around with the SL and SR buttons because I was very curious about those, seeing as they're much bigger now. They're much clickier, and they actually feel very similar to the old ones on the Joy-Con 1, except now the buttons themselves are a lot bigger. And I held the Joy-Con sideways because, some Switch 2 games are going to require you to do that, or just, have it be an option. And it was fine. You know how it's a little bit awkward to hold a Switch 1 Joy-Con sideways? It just feels like your hands like really, really cramped like this. Well, the Switch 2 is kind of the same idea, except your hands are like this. Like, you have a little bit more room to work with, but it's still a little bit awkward to hold. Now, something that was really, really nice was taking the charging grip, which we used for Mario Kart World and a couple of the other demos, and playing with the Joy-Cons that way. That honestly felt much more natural than it does with the Switch 1 Joy-Cons, just because the Joy-Con 2s are much taller. So that was pretty awesome. That was really nice to see. I could actually see a lot of people just skipping out on the Pro Controllers if they want to save a little bit of money, because just playing with the charging grips in worked perfectly well. It felt like a much more normal controller than the first one. As for the material of the Joy-Con 2s, they definitely felt a little more premium. The joysticks, now they are a little bit larger. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really notice that much of a difference. Maybe if I held if I held like Joy-Con 1 and Joy-Con 2, like thumb to thumb, I'd be able to notice a difference. But for the most part, it basically feels the same. Like, the only difference really is just that they are longer, and the longer length does help a lot when you're holding the Joy-Cons vertically. And I might as well bring up the Pro Controller real quick. It's pretty much the same thing. I did try pushing the C button and the home button, by the way. Nothing happens. It seems like the buttons were completely disabled. But something that I did find very interesting is that the plus and the minus buttons have more push to them, so they actually stick up slightly more than the other buttons. And I thought that was a really interesting change. It wasn't like that on the Joy-Cons, but just on the Pro Controller. I'm not really sure why they wanted to accentuate those buttons in a different way compared to everything else. I guess just because there's a couple extra buttons on there. They wanted the plus and minus to feel slightly more important, so I guess that's the reason. And then, of course, there were the little like back buttons on the Pro Controller as well. We couldn't use those in any of the games we tried, but, they felt like typical back buttons. But now I want to talk about Mario Kart World. This trip to play the Switch 2 was spendy, and paid for thanks to Flexispot. Tired of sitting in your old, squeaky, crappy computer chair for hours on end? Serious gamers like myself know how important your throne is, which is why I'm excited to talk about the C7Max, a brand new chair from Flexispot. I'm already a fan of their standing desk, and the C7Max does not disappoint. This chair is incredibly sturdy and is perfect for long-time sessions. The backrest can be adjusted with adaptive lumbar support, and the C7Max is a 0.2-inch latex seat cushion, providing support for up to 12 hours. The headrest and armrest can be adjusted, and look at this! There's a freaking footrest built in! Look at this callus in my foot. I have this because I've been using my desktop as a footrest, but now the C7Max gives me a footrest that's actually comfortable and callus-free. So what are you waiting for? Use my code C750 for a $50 discount with a 30-day return policy for a risk-free trial and 10-year warranty with direct replacement for damaged parts. If you're on a budget, their standard C7 model is currently having an unprecedented sale. Use the discount code C7YTB200 to get $200 off. And now back to Switch 2. I think it's pretty safe to say that when everyone first saw it on the Switch 2 teaser trailer, it wasn't the most crazy looking game ever. It kind of just looked like Mario Kart 8 again. And then of course, when the Switch 2 Direct came around, we saw more of the game. We're like, okay, this is actually looking a little bit better. And let me tell you, seeing this in person, in 4K, is genuinely amazing. Now, obviously, the footage that I have here, it's just me playing in handheld mode. And the way that the demo worked was you were in a group of two, so I was with someone else. And basically, you got to play on the TV for a round, you got to play on the handheld for a round, and if there was extra time, you could do the TV for 1 to 2 more games. And then we eventually went to the Knockout Tour, and that was the idea. So basically, we were able to really get a good idea of what the graphics look like compared to the handheld and the TV. And I gotta say, man, this is one of the nicest looking Nintendo games I have ever seen. I never thought I'd be saying that about freaking Mario Kart, but yes, Mario Kart World really does look that good. It is like genuinely stunning. It's one of those things where if you've never played like a PS5 game, or if you never like experienced like a true 4K game, it's really hard to explain how nice the game looks. But seriously, the game just looks so good. And it's not even just the high resolution, it's the HDR. The colors are so vibrant, everything is so bright. It's one of the cleanest looking Nintendo games I've ever seen, and it was really surreal because I'm so used to Nintendo games being a little bit lower on the graphical fidelity side, which, you know, is totally fine. So it's just weird seeing Mario Kart World look as great as it did. I think this could end up being one of the nicest and best running games too. There was no frame rate issues whatsoever. I didn't have any problems with any of that. Now, in terms of the controls, this is what I really wanted to talk about. It feels very much like Mario Kart 8. You know, just moving around, just the speed that you're going at. Now, of course, you were playing it. We were forced to play at 100cc. We couldn't try 150. But yeah, I mean, it feels very, very much like Mario Kart 8. Now, of course, there are a handful of differences. Most of them is just like, oh, you have to use like a specific cart now. You can't like pick your own glider, your own wheel. You just get one cart that you pick as well as your one character. And of course, the gliders, they're not even there now. Now you get the plane. And this was the weirdest thing that I honestly never even picked up on when I was watching footage of the game during the Direct in the Treehouse, was that you can trick multiple times now. And this is not just like off of like the ground, right? Like when you're gliding, you can trick as many times as you want. And not just that, but you can trick in different directions. You can trick left, right, forward, and backward. And immediately the first thing I thought of was Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transform, because that game can also do the same thing. Except with Mario Kart World, the tricking itself is a little bit faster. What I found to be really bizarre about that, though, was even though there was a couple times I was chaining literally like 7 to 8 tricks before landing, I didn't really get a bigger speed boost compared to just one trick. So I don't know what's up with that. Like, is there any reason to trick more than one time? I couldn't really tell. And maybe it's because we were also forced to have smart steering on, which is really unfortunate. I really would have liked to have played at least at 150cc and without smart steering, but I understand not everyone is familiar with Mario Kart, so I totally get it. I honestly don't even remember what tracks I played. Like, I know I played, there was like a Mario Circuit track, and each lap it changed to like a different variation of Mario Circuit. I think like 1, 2, and 3. And I think we played in DK Pass. There was one track, too, where the weather actually changed. It went from just being, like, sunny to snowy. And I don't think anything really changed with the track itself. Maybe things got a little more slippery, but honestly, I was like so overstimulated by just like brand new stuff happening that I don't really remember. But it was pretty cool that the weather like actually changes on the fly now. And then of course I want to talk about the grinding a little bit. Unfortunately, I did not get a chance to try wall jumping at all. I just didn't play a track that even had wall jumping. And honestly, it was hard to find places to grind too. But I did try it, and at least the way that it works with the smart steering is it's very, very simple. You just kind of approach the grind rail, you get on it, and your cart immediately just hops onto two wheels, you begin a drift. And at that point, you can kind of just stand there as long as you want, or you can just jump off, and when you jump off, you get this nice, juicy speed boost forward. So I guess the point of grind rails really is to just get like a little bit of an extra speed boost, and I'm almost wondering if they're kind of hard to find or not very common on purpose, because they do provide such a big advantage during the race. So maybe they want it to be something that's not very common. Maybe I just wasn't in an area that had a lot of grind rails. I wish I could share more about it, but it felt pretty good to do. It was weird though. Like, I'll never forget, like the first time I did it, I was like, huh? It just felt really, really bizarre. Just have the cart do that. It's cool. I mean, honestly, just the weirdest part of the whole thing that I played was just being able to trick multiple times. Like, it just didn't feel natural. And speaking of not feeling natural, the way the items work is totally different too, because now whenever you get an item, it automatically just sticks behind you. You don't have to hold the L button. And what I kept doing was whenever I would get the item, I would push L, and then I would throw the item without meaning to, because I'm just, so used to, needing to hold the L button. So that is something I think a lot of veteran players of Mario Kart 8, and, well, basically all of them, right? That is going to take some time to get used to. The fact that you do not have to hold the L button. It's an interesting change. I don't really know why they did it. I guess because it would be a little bit easier for newcomers. I guess that's why. I'm not really sure. But yeah, that was interesting, and I did get to try a couple of the new items. I didn't get to do all of them. The ice flower is cool. It's very similar to the fire flower. It has basically the same effect. So when you hit someone, they kind of just like spin out for like maybe a second to 2 seconds. So hitting someone with an ice ball really isn't that effective, but I guess it helps, a little bit in the grand scheme of things. I also got the hammer item, and wow, that item is really, really wonky because it has an arc that goes really, really far. And I think you get like 3 or 4 different hammer throws, and one throw is like 3 hammers at once. So really you're throwing like, I think it's like 12 to 15 hammers or something like that. It's really weird though. I didn't get used to it at all. There might be a way to like potentially arc the way the hammers are thrown. I have no idea. I only got the item once. And I want to talk about the shopping bag, because the shopping bag makes no sense to me. So of course I played as the cow, and the cow kind of sucks. He's very, very heavy. So I tried a bunch of different characters, right? And the first time I got the shopping bag, I was playing as Nabbit. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I'm going to get a Nabbit costume. So I hit the bag, and, the wheel kind of rang, and I ate, like, I don't know, it was a burger or fries or something like that. And instead of turning into a different character, I just got a speed boost. So maybe that means not every character has a unique costume. I don't know. This seems like one of those things where we're not going to know until the Mario Kart World Direct that is later this month. But I thought that was just really, really strange. Yeah, there was a lot of things about Mario Kart World that was really confusing. Is it going to be worth $80 though? I mean, I'm going to say yes with an asterisk. It is a lot of money. Obviously, it's a lot of money, and Nintendo reinforcing that price is okay with everyone else in the game industry is not a good thing. With that said, on an individual scale, how many of you have played, hundreds of hours of Mario Kart? Raise your hand. All of us. All of us have played at least 100, 200, 300 hours of Mario Kart 8, if not more. And if not that game, we played hundreds of hours of Mario Kart 7, Wii, Double Dash, the list goes on. Mario Kart is one of those games that people just tend to play a lot. So, are you getting your money's worth for $80? I would say yes, I think you are, but at the same time, I can completely understand why that's not really up anyone's alley, or why that's too much, because yes, that is a lot for just one video game. And really the only way that I think Nintendo could get away with this, well, I mean, it's Mario Kart, I'm sure it'll sell fine, but if they want to prevent people from getting more angry, if they're gonna do additional like retro tracks or additional like content updates for this game, they're going to need to do all that for free. Like if they do a season pass for like 20-25 bucks or something like they did with the booster course pass, people are gonna be livid about that, considering the game already cost $80. Now, before moving on to the other games, I did ask everyone in a YouTube community post about questions you had for Mario Kart World, and I did actually ask a lot of these questions to the Nintendo reps while I was there, and they didn't say anything. I think a lot of them just didn't know the answers to my questions, but I am going to go through a few of these. Can we still race on a single course for all 3 laps? So I'm pretty sure that has been confirmed to be possible. I know a lot of people are questioning if when you're doing like the Grand Prix or the Knockout Tour, if you are forced to basically travel to the next course instead of just basically starting the next one. I'm pretty sure you can turn off the intermissions, but we don't have like official confirmation of that, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's a way to do that. I'm sure Nintendo at the very least still wants to be able to offer the classic way of playing Mario Kart where you just go through 4 courses in a Grand Prix and just play them back to back. I'm sure that's going to be there. But Nintendo just doesn't want to show that off. They want to show off the new stuff right now. How many new characters are there other than the cow? So this is one of those questions that I asked the Nintendo rep. They said they don't know. So as I was going through the character select, I found the cow playable, but I didn't find any of the other enemies playable. I just saw all the classic Mario characters, a bunch of random costumes, and then the cow and like Nabbit. You know, there weren't a lot of like enemies that were playable yet. So I asked them, I'm like, well, how do you unlock all these other enemies? Is there a way to do it? And all they said was, they don't know. Just watch the direct. Maybe we'll find out then. So unfortunately, I don't have an answer to that. But I guess I did want to quickly talk about the character select screen because I'm really hoping that what we've seen is just a part of the demo, because it is super messy. There's random costumes and characters all over the place. It does not look good. So I really hope that it is not like that in the final game. Is Toad's Factory really in the game, or is it just the music? So I did not play Toad's Factory, but I have seen some footage of it. It is in the game, so I'll see if I can find it and throw it in the video. But yes, Toad's Factory is there. Is there a comical size difference between Moo Moo the Racer and the Moo Moo in Moo Moo Meadows? I wish I had the answer for you. I was hoping to play on Moo Moo Meadows, but there wasn't really a way to pick the tracks. We were kind of just like randomly thrown in, and that was it. And I guess the last thing I'll touch on real quick is the Knockout Tour mode, because we got to play that. It was 24 players land style, and basically the idea was you just keep doing races over and over without stopping, and the previous 4 players, once they get to like the end of a track, end up getting eliminated. And this was by far the most fun thing that I did while I was playing. I didn't really get much of a chance to play the free roam mode, maybe like a minute or so. So I didn't get, much feel for it. But the Knockout Tour was so much fun. It was really intense. And even though we were playing on 100cc and things still felt slow, it was still a lot of fun to do. And I almost got first. I was close. I got 3rd place. And you know what? I will take 3rd place. Okay, and I think that's going to be about it for Mario Kart World. I was really hoping to actually just play more of it, because the other stuff they had there was just like, it was good, or it was just kind of like, meh. But yeah, man, I'm not going to lie, I'm really excited for Mario Kart World and Donkey Kong Bonanza, but I'm going to get to that later. So let's get to just a couple of the other things real quick. So the first thing I did when we got into the next room was hit up the GameCube Classics. I wanted to try out F-Zero GX. I did a race. We had the actual GameCube controller there. It feels like a GameCube controller. Not much to really say about that. And yeah, F-Zero GX, it's F-Zero GX, all right. I was kind of wondering if there was going to be any sort of like frame rate issues, because I had heard of that. And from what I could tell, I mean, the game ran very smoothly. I didn't think there was any issues, but I only did one race, so maybe there's problems somewhere else. Maybe like some other games have had like performance problems, but from what I could tell, GameCube Switch Online is exactly what I was wanting it to be. I also tried out Metroid Prime 4. I did the mouse mode and the stick, so it's really weird to play it that way. I guess it's kind of like, instead of like mouse and keyboard, it's mouse and Joy-Con. It's a very weird thing to get used to, but man, let me tell you, like, it's actually unreal how good the mouse mode works. Like, it really does feel like a normal mouse. It's precise, it's responsive like a normal mouse. it was pretty nuts. They had us playing on the 120 FPS mode at 1080p, so we didn't get to see it in 4K, but even in 1080p, Metroid Prime 4 looked so good. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, just playing in mouse mode, that got me into it. And I mean, I've played a little bit of the first Metroid Prime, but I never finished it. I've never not been that big of a Metroid guy, but I'm gonna have to play Prime 4 just because, like, just the responsiveness of the controls was so cool. Really, my only problem with Prime 4, or not necessarily Prime 4, but the mouse mode, was that it was really easy for my thumb to slip and hit other buttons. So it would constantly have, I wouldn't say constantly, but maybe like every couple of minutes as I was playing, my thumb would slip and it would hit the Y button, and the Y button would cause Samus to go into Morph Ball mode. So I would just be like randomly shooting at a bunch of enemies, and I'd like jerk left and right. And the next thing I know, I'm in the Morph Ball. And I'm like, why am I in a Morph Ball? Oh, because I hit Y by accident. I also tried out Cyberpunk, and I'm not going to lie, wasn't very impressed with it. It ran pretty badly. It was like 30, 40 frames or something like that. But the problem was just the whole game looked really smudgy. And from what I heard, I think this demo was put together really quickly. So, no fault to whoever was putting together the demo, but, like, I'm not going to lie, it just wasn't that impressive of a game. It's like, if I'm going to play Cyberpunk, I'll just play it on PC. I also tried the Dragon Dive, or Dive and Drive, I don't remember, the wheelchair game. I tried the wheelchair game. This game's not very good. Again, I gotta be totally honest. It's super janky. It works. It does technically work. They gave us like this big table in front of us, and we were just like doing this across the table, and you would use the ZL and ZR buttons to brake. And yeah, it's basically just 3-on-3 basketball, but you're going around a court, and you can like pass and stuff, and you can like throw a ball into the hoop. That's it. That's all it is. But here's what I will say. I was playing, with other team of 3 people, and our team won. And apparently we scored the most points throughout the whole 3-day weekend, which is, pretty cool. It was only like 11 points. And speaking of video games, Switch 2 Welcome Tour, I went ahead and tried this out as well. I tried the Mario Bros. 1 thing, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool, I guess. And then I did that frame rate test where you have to guess if the frame rate is like 20 FPS or 120 FPS. And I ran around as a little dude on the Joy-Con, and yeah, this was also pretty boring. There just wasn't much to it. I had a chance to try out Kirby and the Forgotten Land as well, the Plus Starcross World, or I think that's what it's called, and that one was really fun, actually, because I really liked Forgotten Land a lot. My only gripe with the original was just that it did run at 30 frames, so playing it in 4K, 60 frames a second, just felt incredible. Like, it just genuinely felt absolutely amazing. So that was a lot of fun. I also tried Street Fighter 6 for about 2 minutes, and I'm really bad at fighting games, so I got pretty screwed. But you know what? Game looked pretty good. I'll give it that. I had a chance to try out Breath of the Wild in 4K as well. I wanted to try Tears of the Kingdom too, but there just wasn't that much time. Breath of the Wild in 60 frames a second is amazing. And it's not even just that, but just loading from, place to place, shrine to shrine. It feels great. I don't think people are necessarily going to want to go back and play Breath of the Wild just because of the frame rate increase. But if you're someone like me that, didn't necessarily like 100% these games, I might actually go back to Breath of the Wild and find some of those missing Korok seeds I never got. Maybe do a handful of the side quests. And, same thing for Tears of the Kingdom. Like, I might go back because I never finished the shrines in Tears of the Kingdom. I played, like, most of them, but there was a couple I didn't do. So I could see myself going back to do that just to really, experience the games at the higher frame rate and the much higher resolution. And it's not even just that. The HDR really adds a lot to the game. It adds this nice shine to it, and it just looks so much better. And the last game I played was Donkey Kong Bonanza. I've heard a lot of goods and bads about it. I've heard some people say they don't really like it. Some people say they love it. I'm definitely more on the positive side for Donkey Kong Bonanza because this game is literally Mario Odyssey, but you just smash stuff. That is pretty much what it is. The way the objectives work is the same. You have to find a bunch of like hidden bananas, so just like the moons. And there's like I think there's like a set of 3 bananas that takes you to a new area. So again, that's very similar to Mario Odyssey and the way that Donkey Kong goes, oh, banana, whenever you get a banana. It's very, very Mario Odyssey encoded. There's really only 2 issues that I had with the demo. One, the camera gets a little funky sometimes. So if you're digging up and down, sometimes the camera doesn't know what to do, and it just gets like way too close to DK or just like shoots off somewhere it's not supposed to. And then the second issue, which I was actually really surprised to see, was the world map. So what's really nice about this game is you can just push one button, it takes you to an interactive world map, and you're able to like pin missions that you want to do. Again, a kind of like Mario Odyssey, except now you can pin stuff, which is really great. But the frame rate when you're in the world map chops to like 10 frames a second. It's really, really chuggy. And I don't know why it's like that. I mean, this is supposed to be a demo for the Switch 2. The whole point, the whole gimmick of the Switch 2 is that it runs games in a high frame rate and at a high resolution. And here we are playing Donkey Kong Bonanza, and this big portion of the game where you have to see the menu runs at such a horrible frame rate. I don't know why, but look, I still love the game. Just smashing stuff was really, really satisfying. And there's even like little challenge levels that you can do too. So if you remember from Mario Odyssey, you would hop into either the green or the silver pipe, and you would play that little like challenge stage, grab a moon from there, sometimes 2 moons. Donkey Kong Bonanza has the exact same thing. It's a very, very similar concept. The structure of the game is super similar to Mario Odyssey. Don't sleep on Bonanza. Like, if for anyone that is going to actually fork out the money for a Switch 2, honestly, this could be a good game. I'm hoping that they're able to maybe fix the frame rate problems before the game comes out, or at the very least, some of the camera issues, because there is a couple of like really dumb challenge ideas that I have for that game. So hopefully Nintendo can get it running, you know, as good as possible before it releases. But yeah, that was pretty much everything for the Switch 2. So thank you all for watching. I will have many more videos coming soon, and I'll see you later.